Ever wish you could just plant an idea directly into your subconscious mind? I mean, so deep that it has no choice but to act on it? Well, today we're diving into sigil magic. It's a really fascinating, modern practice designed to do exactly that, to help you manifest what you want by bypassing your own inner critic and speaking the language of your deeper self. And it all starts with this, a symbol called a sigil. Now, at first glance, it just looks like a personal, abstract, kinda strange-looking glyph. But for the person who made it, this little symbol is like a compressed file, a packet of pure intention, a command that's all ready to be sent straight to the subconscious. So that's the big question, right? How on earth can some personal doodles supposedly have the power to actually influence reality? Well, the answer isn't really about waving wands or anything like that. It's more about a fascinating psychological backdoor. To really get what this symbol is all about, we've got to look at its purpose and where it comes from. And you might be surprised to learn this isn't some ancient ritual from a dusty old book. Nope, this is a streamlined 20th century innovation in personal magic. So here's the core idea in a nutshell. Sigil magic is a system for taking a really specific, conscious goal of yours and translating it into a symbol. So why a symbol? Well, the theory is that your subconscious mind doesn't really think in neat, orderly sentences. It thinks in images, feelings, and symbols. This little glyph is designed to be a direct message. Think of it like a piece of code for your own internal operating system. The modern version of this practice really comes down to two main figures. First, you've got Osman Spare. He was an artist and occultist who, way back in 1913, first came up with his technique of squishing a sentence of desire down into an abstract glyph. Then, way later, a guy named Peter J Carroll took Spare's ideas and basically organized them into a clear, repeatable system that became a huge part of the chaos magic movement. So you can see this entire technique is built on a very specific model of how our minds work. It's not just about doodling a cool symbol, it's about strategically navigating your own consciousness to deliver that symbol through a kind of mental backdoor. To really get it, you have to think of your mind as being split into two parts. You've got your conscious mind, the one you're using to listen to me right now. It's logical, it's rational, but man, is it skeptical. Then you have the subconscious. This is the powerhouse. It's uncritical, it works with symbols, and it's considered the real engine that makes things happen. The whole goal of sigil magic is to sneak a message from the conscious mind past all the doubt and into the subconscious. And here's the big obstacle, what's called the psychic sensor. Think of this as the firewall of your conscious mind. The second you have a desire, like, I'm going to find an amazing new job, the psychic sensor immediately pops up with all the reasons that's a dumb idea. The economy's terrible, you don't have the right skills, it'll be too hard. The whole point of making the sigil an abstract, weird-looking symbol is that it's designed to be like a Trojan horse that can sneak right past that internal guard. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you go from a simple wish to a charged-up symbol ready to go? Well, it's actually a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, you create the sigil. You figure out exactly what you want and you turn it into a glyph. Second, you charge it. This is the active part, where you find a way to implant that symbol deep into your subconscious. And third, and this is probably the weirdest and most important step, you release it. You have to actively forget what the symbol even means, so your conscious mind can't mess with the process. It all starts with your statement of intent. And you can't be vague here. It has to be precise, positive, and super clear. I want an apartment is just too fuzzy, but it is my will to find a cheap and modern apartment. Now that's specific. You're giving your subconscious a clear set of instructions to work with, like GPS coordinates. Once you have that statement, there are a few ways to build your symbol. The most common one is the word method. You literally write out your sentence, cross out all the vowels, then cross out any letters that repeat. Then you take the letters you have left and you artistically smush them all together into one single design. You can also try drawing a picture that represents your goal, or even scramble the letters into a bizarre-sounding mantra that you can chant. All right, now we get to the absolute linchpin of this whole process. See, the symbol is just ink on paper until it's charged, and that charging has to happen in a very specific state of mind. It's a state called gnosis. So what is gnosis? It's that brief moment where your internal chatter, your rational thinking mind, goes completely silent. It's a state of no mind. In that little window of time, the psychic sensor is offline. And that's the moment you focus on your sigil, essentially firing it directly into your subconscious without any of that doubt or skepticism getting in the way. And what's really interesting is that there are two totally opposite ways to get there. You can take the inhibitory path, which is all about silencing the mind through things like deep meditation or slow, focused breathing, or you can go the other way, the excitatory path. This is about overwhelming the mind with intense emotion, ecstatic dancing, or some kind of sensory overload. Both paths lead to the exact same place, a momentary shutdown of that conscious filter. So let's zoom out. Let's say you do all this, and it works. The thing you wanted happens. What just happened? Was that actual magic, or was it all in your head? Well, there are two main ways to think about the results. The first way to look at it is the magical model. This perspective says that the sigil is basically a piece of spiritual technology. Once it's charged up with your will, it directly acts on the fabric of reality itself. It's like sending a command out to the universe, telling it to rearrange things according to your intention. In this view, the power is real and it's external. But then you have the psychological model. This view says, hang on, maybe the magic is all happening inside your own head. It suggests that sigil magic is just a really powerful form of self-hypnosis. You're not changing the world, you're changing yourself. By planting that goal so deep in your subconscious, you're basically priming your brain to notice opportunities you would have missed before. You start unconsciously doing things that lead you to your goal, creating what feels like a whole string of lucky breaks or meaningful coincidences. But here's the thing, it doesn't really matter which model you believe in. The keys to success are pretty much the same. You need a crystal clear intention, you have to get to a genuine state of gnosis, even if it's just for a second, and you have to master the art of letting it go and forgetting about it. In fact, a popular tip is to charge a bunch of sigils for different things all at once. That way, it's a lot harder for your conscious mind to get fixated and start obsessing over any single one of them. And that really leaves us with the final, big question to chew on. Is this practice just a clever life hack? A tool for programming your own mind to go after what it wants? Or is it something more? A key that lets our consciousness actually interface with and maybe even reprogram reality itself? The answer? Well, that might just depend on who's holding the key.